So how did you get involved with the whole production?
Oh, well, I got involved because Martin and I, the director, he wrote, directed this piece, edited. He and I produced it together, and he and I met at Sundance in 2012. We were just both attending, and we were rushing a film that we didn't get into, and so we just went to lunch and we started talking film, and when we started hatching plans for other films that we had some common ground that we liked. And we thought, hey, we can make something out of this. And so we just became friends. That was like 7 years ago. And since then, we've, been cooking up other plans, and some films have almost gotten off the ground. And then this one, he had raised some budget, and he was in Santa Barbara in, 2017, in winter 2017. And there was a lot of there were mudslides and storms, and there was a lot of chaos on the ground. He was judging at the Santa Barbara Film Festival, and it just inspired him. And he also met at the same time some filmmakers from Montana who said they knew of some actual nuclear bunkers in this place called Paradise Valley in Montana. So it just got his juices turning, and he started writing. And about a month later, he sent me a draft. He's like, Krista, do you want to produce this together? You could be in it. And I'm like, I read it. I'm like, heck yeah, that sounds fun. So he just kept making drafts, and we would send him, and I get feedback, and we would just work the script for a while, and then it came down to, all right, let's go on a location scout. And of course, we wanted to go to Montana to see those bunkers and see what they have there. But then we also realized we both have a lot of deep roots in Northern California. He worked for the archaeology service out there, straight out of university, a while ago, and so he got to know east of Mount Shasta in the far north of California. And I lived in Mount Shasta and the surrounding area for a number of years just after the millennium. And so we both have friends and collaborators out there. So we just went out for a location scout there, and I showed them all around everything I could think of there. And then we went to Montana, and we had people showing us around there. And we found the nuclear bunker. We actually shot in that nuclear bunker. We ended up shooting in both places because we had so much support in both places, including a Big Sky film grant from the Montana Film Office. They came through with a little bit of funding, which helped with our post-production. And yeah, it just was really falling together.
Is Montana is Montana known as a very filmmaker friendly place, as opposed to California or Georgia?
I think they are. I don't see how they couldn't be, because we landed not knowing, well, we really just had that one contact from the Santa Barbara Film Festival. And then I had two friends who lived there too. And between those just couple people, they, put us up, find a place to stay. And we went over to just stopped by the film office. We had written to them earlier, but they sent out, we had a sort of a casting meeting, just, hey, we're going to show up here at this such and such a time if you want to come down and learn about the project. We're not casting right now, but we'd love to see who's here, and cast and crew, and let's see what's going on. And people just showed up. The film office sent out an alert, and people showed up, and it was very film friendly. I found. I can see why people go to shoot there. At the same time, Yellowstone was shooting with Kevin Costner. Costner was just starting.
Oh, okay. When he was writing the script, did he specifically have you in mind for that role, or was it just happenstance that you fit so well into it?
It's an interesting question. He was writing a role for me as one of the daughters. There used to be two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept rewriting, and we were on the location scout, and at some point, at the very end of it, he's like, I think that the mother and the older daughter are the same person, and we got to get rid of the daughter. And I'm thinking to myself, darn, that's not good for me. But I kept my mouth shut, story first. And then we went home. He went back to London. I went back to New York. And he kept working on it, and I kept starting to, keep interviewing the cast crew that we had met on our scouts and everything. Because if we were going to make it happen, we had to start hiring. We wanted to do it before, if you're going to shoot in Montana and you don't want to do it in the middle of the snow, you better get done before the end of October. So I kept at that. And then he said, Krista, do you think you can do it? And I said, yes, I know I can do it. Let's do it. And so he gave it to me. And I didn't see that coming. It was such a great role, you know? I just loved it when I read it. But I thought at the time, I just saw it differently. I didn't know. I didn't see how it would work out, but then it did. So, I'm very grateful.
Okay. Did you have a lot of time to bond with your co-stars, kind of get that family dynamic going, so it was believable on screen?
Yeah, we did not have a lot of time, but I think that's part of just acting training. Andrea Sweeney Blanco, who plays my daughter, she's a total pro, and so she just showed up, and we just spent maybe a few hours together. Just went to a dance studio we had access to from the Jefferson, the JCA, the Jefferson Community Arts Center, and it just we just talked and connected, and it's just really opening your heart enough in that early stage with another person to, I just started treating her like a daughter immediately, and she started treating me like a mom, and so it made for a really interesting dynamic because we were also in a producer-actor relationship as well, and but it went beautifully, yeah. But that's I think the job. I think that's the job is the first task as an actor is to build a relationship with whoever is before you to play that role. And so, we just both, I think we enjoyed doing it. So that was lucky.
Since you were on such a tight schedule to shoot, considering the location and the weather, what was the most stressful time to film? Was it, or a certain area? Was there a certain area or a certain time that was very stressful to film in that condensed circumstance?
There are a couple different answers I think that are coming to mind. I think, well, certainly when it got really cold a few times, some of the swimming was very cold. And, we would have a fire, we would have a warming source, but it could be, some of the swimming was fine. Some of it was very cold, but by the end, when we were in Montana and we had the full submersion, you'll see when you see the rest of it. I managed to, with one of our production assistants, he was going to school in Bozeman, and so he had connections with the athletic department, and so they scored us 2 wetsuits to put under our costumes, or else it would have been so cold. And so that when we shot at Little Mount Hoffman in the California National Forest, up high, very up high, surrounding Lassen, Medicine Lake, which is east of Mount Shasta, and it's actually its own volcano, and it's very cold. It's a very cold night, and so we had to do some combat up there. We had to do just quite a few parts of one of the climactic scenes toward the end of the movie. And so that was challenging. Just the cold and just the elements sometimes became the most challenging. And also, we were really moving the company around a lot. So I think for our first AD, Levi Anderson, he had quite a challenge getting us to all the places, these beautiful locations that we had. But we had to move everybody to them and keep on a tight schedule. And then we moved the entire company from California to Montana, not the entire company, but a lot of it, because it was really working well. And then we had Montana people to feed in once we got there. And so coordinating all that, there was so much moving around, that created its own challenge as well. And then just keep it on schedule. And we were just very lucky that it didn't start snowing before we finished. And it, sometimes it was cold, but that's the job. It's also part of the fun, weathering the elements.
Did you get to do a lot of your own stunts in the shoot?
Yeah, we definitely did. I feel all the stunts were very straightforward. We mapped them all out with SAG beforehand, and they were all pretty straightforward combat, and there was no live, there were no, the firearms on set were not loaded or even actual fire. We had a lot of props, and so we were just avoiding any kind of danger in that regard. We just didn't want to have any of that even floating out there. So it was. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think my earphone cut out. One sec. Oh, are you there? Can you hear it?
Yep, sure can.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. All right. My earphone cut out a little. Yeah. Everyone pretty much did their own stunts. Yeah, we had a stunt. We had some specialists come in on some days where there was heavier action, but everyone also had a lot of experience. Like Jesus Lloveras, who plays Joe, he had a lot of experience with it. I had a lot of experience with it. I come from a dance background, and so it was pretty easy to choreograph the fights and just let it develop organically and keep it safe. And of course, we were shooting in chunks, so tiny chunks for those. So it was, we just went slow because it's safe. Made sure we had our angles, correctly mapped, which Martin is a master at. He comes from the camera department on larger, big budget films, and so before he got into writing and directing his own work, so he's just a master with knowing exactly where to plant the camera to get the shot and keep the story flowing and moving. Beautiful.
Do you have a particular scene, either yours or one of the other actors, that you particularly loved doing or loved watching?
Let's see. Doing is so much fun. I really loved watching. I loved doing. There's a scene with William Mark McCullough, who plays DJ Apocalypse, and he's such a joy to work with. He's such a phenomenal actor. And Martin got it in a one-shot. So it's this one-shot scene. It's a walk and talk at the bunker out in Montana, and it was just so much fun. I'm eating, he's talking. It's just, it's a nice light moment within, a very intense, drama or, action unfolding. And so, yeah, I love that one. I also loved working with, Neil Dixon. He came in to play the ranger, sort of a forest ranger, but one with PTSD, sort of to show where the good people of the world, everyone's getting sort of, it takes the toll it takes when something cataclysmic happens at this level, and how good people just start falling apart. And it's, he was just a real thrill to work with. I love watching the scene, the icon leader scene with Dominica Cameron Scorsese, Martin Scorsese's daughter. I just love how Martin blocked and imagined that whole scene. I think it's delightful. It's also a really light moment. And and then the folks we got to do our looping, to do extra vocal background. Mm-hmm. Bill Timoney, who directed that group, he came up with some beautiful scores and chants, and just it became a very rich scene to watch once all the elements came together. I'd say those, and just anything with the Apocalypse Party is just so much fun. I feel like that's everyone's favorite part. It's just you need it at that moment. It's been so dire the whole time, and then you've just got like, oh yeah, fuck it, let's just party. But then it doesn't last long. Yeah, it's an understandable desire.
When I was doing some research into the film itself, I saw that that Atomic Apocolypse wasn't actually coming up, and I'm guessing it was originally under Black Flowers.
Black Flowers, yeah.
What is the reason? Is it just the distributor wanted a more punchy or something that would be at the top of the list name, or was there a different reason for the name change?
Yeah, I think the distributor thought it would bring people to the table a lot more quickly. Black Flowers is very poetic. That's part of what inspired Martin, and there is a theme of black flowers within the movie are these sort of bastard mutant black oozy flower bushes that are growing in certain places, and all these properties that can kill you, and it's part of the mutation of the world that there's so much radiation changing, the organic makeup. And so, but it's an interesting thread throughout the movie as well, and it sort of mirrors humans. I feel the big theme for me of the movie is, are we going to come together? Like, nature's going to survive. Are we going to come together, or are we going to kill each other off in the name of our own personal survival, or will we help each other? Or, and so the black flowers mirror a little something about that. I don't want to give it away, but they can kill or they can heal, and so can we. So.
All right, Krista, thank you very much for calling me today.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. And Atomic Apocolypse, the correct title, will be available actually starting tomorrow, February 4th, on digital and DVD. Do you know if it's going to be screening anywhere? Is it going to be appearing at any conventions or anything like that this year?
We've got a few more screenings coming up right away. We've got this Wednesday the 5th. And if you give me your email, I could send you this information if it's easier.
Sure.
Let's see, Wednesday the 5th in Ashland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a little tour to bring the movie back to all of our people who helped us to make it, our cast and crew. So Wednesday the 5th, we're in Ashland, Oregon. Then Friday the 7th, we're in Weed, California. And that's all around where we shot in Northern California. Then we're going to Montana. We'll show it in Dillon, where we shot the Apocalypse party. So we'll have all those crazy cats coming to see it on Sunday at 1, and then we'll have an Atomic Oscar party afterwards. And we're going to be giving away faux Oscars to everyone. Well, not everyone, but some people. Best dressed, Let's have some fun. Yeah, and then Monday we'll go over to Butte, where the Covalite Film Festival has been very supportive of our whole process, and we'll screen it there, and then we go to LA for our LA premiere on the 13th at Magicopolis.
And what time is that one?
That's at 7 p.m.
Okay.
In Santa Monica. Yeah.